Thank you, Jack. As a matter of fact, Jack has alluded to my dad being 100 years out, 1918, and I'm so happy to be here for my 50th. Somebody said, what are the odds of that happening? You have a 50th graduate, and you have 100. And I guess you'd have to win the Powerball, because the odds are really extremely high. To help celebrate our 50th and my father's 100, we have in attendance my wife, Ellen Bruder, my 13-year-old daughter, Audrey Bruder, my sister, Claire Bruder Malarney. Can you three stand up? By the way, I asked Audrey to circulate around the room and say some nice things about me. And I told her I would double her allowance. After leaving Xavier, my father attended Georgetown University, where he graduated in 1922, and then on to Fordham Law School, which he graduated in 1925. He began practicing law, and in the 1930s, he became the town attorney for Harrison, New Jersey. In the late 30s, there was a very high-profile case of Harrison versus the Suburban Water Company over water prices for the town residents. The case went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. My father's opponent was a man named Robert McCarter. He was a former Attorney General of New Jersey and a partner in one of the oldest law firms in New Jersey, McCarter and English. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of my father and the town of Harrison. It was a resounding victory of which my father was always proud of. He always said that never mess with a Jesuit-trained lawyer because we know how to talk. In 1943, my dad celebrated his 25th reunion, and one of his classmates asked him how he was doing. My father turned around and said, I am doing absolutely fantastic. I'm a very content bachelor. I'm at the height of my career. I just won this Supreme Court case, and I'm traveling and I'm having a good time in my life. Fast forward 25 years to 1968, and at Xavier, as he was celebrating his 50th reunion, and at the reunion, a fellow classmate came up to him and said, Mike, I haven't seen you since our 25th. What have you been up to? My father replied, I got married and got 10 kids. What? 10 kids? What do you mean 10 kids? So my dad told him, he goes, oh yeah, and by the way, I have a son graduating next week at Xavier. So my dad, he made it to his 50th reunion at Georgetown University in 1972, and he brought all of his 10 children there. Now, I don't know what the alumni committee was thinking when they saw Judge Bruder come in with 10 kids. They didn't know what to do. But anyway, he really enjoyed that, and he had a great time. He passed on the following year in 1973. Just recently, my sister Claire found some things from the usual, the box in the attic type of thing. And it was from 1918, and most notable is my father's class ring, which is on display over here from 1918, and somehow I kept my ring from 1968, which is right next to it. So here's two Xavier rings, one 50 years old and one 100. Also, what I have up here is we went through the box and we were looking at this, and I have the original graduation exercise program from 1918, which details the course of the event, and all 49 Xavier graduates from 1918. There was one other thing that I wanted to share with you, because I thought, my sister and I thought this was absolutely amazing. There was a Xavier Field Day booklet, a journal per se, from 1917. And it was a field day that was in Curtis Athletic Field in Staten Island. And it has pictures of all of the various teams, the basketball, football, baseball. So, and also it's got these advertisements from local restaurants around the area, whatever. But there was something that caught Claire and my eye, and it was written by a student. And I believe the student was a senior, because it has 4B. So I assume 4, senior, B, maybe a class. But anyway, I like to read it to you because I think it personifies what we are, why we're here today, and how we're made of. So bear with me because it's a little funny the way this is laid out. Fellow students, Xavier High School. Dear fellows, sometime in the not far distant future, you may chance upon this athletic journal and read it over and over again and hearken back to the day in 17 when we were all young and hopeful and sigh and ponder long and wish out loud that you were back in Xavier. And fellows, if you do, try to think of us over on this page and remember that life's cup brimful of joy, success, and every bounty was wished you here, and that you've never too proud, but always proud enough to stand up above the rest and say that you, like those of 4B, are Xavierites, body and soul. Now, I think that's absolutely fantastic. And when you think about it, when he says, the student says, in the not far distant future, you may chance upon this. Well, we found this last year, so it took 100 years. But here it is. But anyway, I thought you might get a kick out of this, and I'm going to leave some of these things over here on the table. If somebody wants to peruse it during the course of the evening, that's fine. I just want to thank the Board of Trustees. I want to thank President Roslowski. I want to thank my family for being here. I want to thank Zane Massey for allowing me the time to come up here and speak to you. And I just wish God bless every one of you, and thank you for having me.